Today we're going back in history and we're pulling out a recipe for Whipped Syllabub. Thanks for joining us today on 18th Century Cooking with Jas-Townsend and Son. So I'm joined today by Michael Dragoo. He's been helping us out with a few episodes here lately. Michael, have you ever done a syllabub?
I haven't. I don't even know what a syllabub is.
Syllabubs are a drink from the 17th and 18th century. They were constantly evolving and changing, especially by the time we get to the late 18th century, where it goes from a drink, usually alcoholic with a kind of a foamy topping to it, to something that gets a lot more like a trifle or a dessert.
Oh, okay.
So it gets more solid in the 18th century with some other additions. And there are many different ways to do syllabubs. So the recipe we're doing today is from Eliza Smith's The Complete Housewife, 1739. It's called a Whipped Syllabub.
I can't wait.
We've got a selection of drinks here that we could use as the base for our syllabub. The recipe calls for using either a Rhenish white wine or a claret, but you can also use other things. I've got a sack here or a standard white wine. If you want to make a non-alcoholic version, you can use a white grape juice or an apple juice. And some of the recipes for other syllabubs even included something like cider. When you got those filled, you can put in about a teaspoon of sugar in each one of those cups. You'll want to stir this until the sugar dissolves completely. With the sweet wine, you may not need to add any sugar at all. So while you're working on that, I'm going to make the foamy topping here. Okay. Let's start off with a Rhenish white wine here. There's about a cup of white wine. I've got the juice of 2 lemons. And a half a cup of granulated sugar. Okay, now that our sugar is good and dissolved, we're going to put in, I've got 2 cups or a pint of heavy cream. Let's get that in there. There we are. And now we're just going to whip this up into a froth. A mixer with a whisk attachment, that would really make this short work. So not only is this whipping air into it, but there's a little bit of curdling action that's going on. This can take quite a while if you're doing it by hand. But now that it's thick enough, you can spoon some of this on. There we are. Yeah, you can squirt a little lemon rind on top. The syllabubs were a layered drink, and they may even have other kinds of layers going on here. So later on in the 18th century, when this became more of a dessert and sort of altered, they would put egg whites in here so that made this even stiffer. They might call it an everlasting syllabub.
Got it.
And just for a little garnish and a little extra flavor, let's sprinkle a little nutmeg on top. Let's try them out. Which one do you want to try? I've got one of these. I'm
going to go with the sack, I think.
Okay, go ahead and try that. Well, the whipped cream's got its own unique, yummy flavor. Look at that. So you can tilt it, and the liquid doesn't change. So you can kind of stir this up, and you get a jumble syllabub. So I'm going to stir mine a little bit, trying to bring that wine up, and then, those are very good. How's the apple juice one?
I like the apple juice very much. This is very good.
Even though the topping on this one had wine in it, if you're doing a non-alcoholic version, you can just use the apple juice in that instead of the wine for the topping part.
Yes.
And yeah, it's very, very good. Very good. You're going to like this, and it's a very interesting looking drink.
Yep.
With a lot of history behind it. I want to thank everyone for watching today, and thank you for joining us as we savor the flavors and the aromas of the 18th century. If you're new to our channel, I want to welcome you. You can subscribe by clicking the button right up here. Also check out our related videos. Thanks so much for watching.